After you've created spotlights or direct lights, you can look through them in the viewport, and that will give you additional tools for positioning and orienting the lights. For example, I'll go over here to the perspective viewport and right-click on the viewport label to open up the viewport menu. Go to the Views submenu and you'll see all of the spotlights and direct lights in the scene listed here at the top of the menu. I'll choose Free Spot 2 to look through that light source as if it was a camera. Now I'm looking through this source at this piece of pottery. Notice that there are some additional tools down here in the viewport navigation area for controlling some of the light parameters. This tool allows me to dolly the light forward or back. Watch what's happening in the top viewport. The light is sliding forward or back along its sight vector. You can also control the size of the fall-off or hotspot here. This makes a wider spotlight or a narrower, more focused spotlight. The hotspot is something that we'll see a bit later, and it controls the brightness at the center of the spotlight, and that's indicated by this central circle. Right now we are adjusting this spotlight without even having it selected. A shortcut for selecting this spotlight is to right-click on the viewport label and choose Select Light. Now its parameters appear over here in the Modify panel. You can see the cone now in all the viewports because this object is selected. You can use Orbit Light to orbit the position of the light around its target. And that target is not really centered on the piece of pottery. It's just floating out here in the middle of the room. If I make this light targeted, it will add a node there which I can select. I will then use the Align tool to align that node with the coffee table. Now the light is pointed at the coffee table. I'd like to look through it yet again and make some adjustments. I can orbit and I can even hold down the wheel of the mouse to truck the light so that I can focus on something else. So you can quickly orient and position your lights when you master these navigation tools. Underneath Orbit there's a flyout menu, and it contains another tool called Pan Light. And think of this as a tripod. Now I can rotate the light as if it were mounted on a tripod. And watch what's happening in the top viewport. I'm turning that light at this point. This kind of control is available for each one of your spotlights and direct lights. I can look through free spot number 1 now and make adjustments. It doesn't really matter that it's upside down here, but it might be easier to comprehend if I roll the light. And I can see a little bit better what it's aimed at. I can make some adjustments. I'll pan the light over here and focus on this cabinet. So these are just different ways that you can orient lights. You can also directly affect lights by selecting their nodes and transforming them. Note that you cannot rotate a light that has a target. This is something that can be confusing to beginners. I'm trying to rotate that and it just doesn't let me. That's because the rotation of this light is controlled by its target. I would have to move the target if I wanted this light to point at something else. On the other hand, I could uncheck targeted in this light, and then I would be able to rotate it. So there are many ways to get to the same place here by using the tools available when you look through a light, by using alignment tools, or by using transform tools on the light node and or its target.